From the Naval Training Center in San Diego, California, the Jack Benny program presented by Lucky Strike.
This is glamorous movie star Rita Gam.
Know what I'm doing? I'm studying my chess. It's an interesting thing about chess. One move can mean the whole game. That's why I'm so careful with every move I make. I like to sit and smoke and really think it through. The cigarette, by the way, is Lucky Strike. I like its clean taste, nice aroma. It's my cigarette every time.
Rita Gam's reason for smoking Lucky Strike is the same one that many millions of other smokers give. They like the taste of a Lucky. And here's why a Lucky tastes better. It's right here on the pack. It's toasted. That's the famous Lucky Strike process that brings Lucky's fine tobacco to its peak of flavor. The process that tones up this mild, naturally good-tasting tobacco to make it taste even better. Well, that's our story, pure and simple. A Lucky tastes better because it's the cigarette of fine tobacco. And it's toasted to taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
So to get better taste from your cigarette, Lucky Strike is the brand to get. It's toasted to give you the best taste yet. It's the toasted cigarette.
Very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all you fellas stationed here at the San Diego Naval Training Center. And I would like to explain to our viewers that there are about 20,000 sailors training here, and they're not permitted off the base for 30 days. Then they get their first liberty, and the excitement really starts. They all gather at the gate, an air raid siren is blown, and the civilians evacuate the city. I want to say it's really nice to be down here, fellas. I hope you all had a nice Christmas. I know I had a wonderful Christmas, and I got a lot of beautiful gifts this year. As a matter of fact, the most wonderful present that I got, all the gifts, was a present that the orchestra boys over there chipped in, and they bought for me. You see, they've been with me for years. So they all chipped in. You see, they knew I used to be in the Navy, you see. So they all chipped in, and they bought me a beautiful frame for my tattoo. I have a tattoo here of the Statue of Liberty, you know. It's upside down. I did it myself. And of course, I didn't know what to buy. I didn't know what to buy for the orchestra boys because, you know, I have to get them something every year. And I was, well, this year I was thinking and racking my brains, you know, trying to say, what can I buy for the boys? And finally, it came to me in a flash, I mean. As a matter of fact, and that's what I got. And I do want to thank the United Airlines for flying the musicians down here from Los Angeles. This is the first time that the passengers were higher than the plane. And now, we'd like to start the show, and I'd like to introduce to you four fellows who've been with me for a number of years, the Sportsman Quartet. Don, where's the quartet?
Well, Jack, that's the reason I came out here. You see, the Sportsmen are no longer a quartet. They're a trio now.
A trio? How come?
Well, they took a shortcut on the way over here to the auditorium, and as they passed in back of one of the barracks, they ran into a group of sailors. These sailors were all on their knees in a circle, so the sportsmen went over and kneeled down to see what was happening, and when they stood up, they had lost $12 on the baritone.
No.
Just a little game to while away the time.
Really?
Yeah, we used to play the same thing when I was in the Navy.
Oh, really, Don? Well, I didn't know you were in the Navy.
Oh, certainly I was in the Navy,
Really?
Jack. Yeah, I was on...
What battleship were you? I mean, were you on?
Jack.
What?
Look, I was on a submarine, the USS Missouri.
Wait a minute, Don. The USS Missouri isn't a submarine.
It was when I got on it.
Now, that, of course, that I can understand. Although I don't know whether you're kidding or not about being in the Navy, but I really was. You know, I was a sailor, and I was stationed at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station in 1917. You see?
In 1917?
That's right.
Jack,
What?
how old are you?
39. And now, fellas, to get on with the show, I'm going to...
Look, Jack, just a minute, Jack. If you're 39 now,
Yeah.
that means you were in the Navy when you were 2 years old.
Yep. I don't know how my father talked him into it, but he did. And Don, listen, the very first week that I was in the Navy, I was a seaman first class, what comes after that? The chief petty officer, and an ensign, and Lieutenant J.G. all in 1 week.
Oh, now, Jack, for heaven's sake.
What?
How can you be all those things in one short week?
Well, Don, when you're that young, they change you every day. I don't know. Let's not argue anymore about it in front of all of these.
Jack, I wouldn't think of discussing it and arguing it. After all, I think it's a great privilege that the boys have permitted us to come down here and put on our show for them today.
I think so, too, Don. Look at them all out there, all in boot training here. You know, and, Don, I want you to know that every one of these, each and every one of these fellas here enlisted to get into the Navy.
They did?
Yes, sir.
They all volunteered?
Every one of them volunteered to get in the Navy.
Well, Jack, what about that sailor sitting in the back row way back there?
Which one?
See that one back there all tied up with ropes?
Well, he was a little slow volunteering. Well,
Jack.
anyway, Don.
Jack,
what?
there's a cameraman. I think he's trying to get your attention.
Oh, that's Joe. He's always so excitable.
Well, he's on his way over here.
Joe. Joe, what's the matter?
What's the matter? You're staring at the camera! I told you in rehearsal, don't stare at the camera!
Well, I have to stare at the camera.
You keep watching that. They won't steal it.
No, they won't.
You came down here to entertain the sailors, entertain them.
I am
Not the camera! you look at the audience,
I'm
the
looking at the
audience.
audience. I'm looking
You're staring at the camera.
I won't.
I'm sorry, I told you.
All right, you don't have
I
to
should
stop.
go home and my life. Oh, for goodness sake, I went the wrong way. Oh, come on, all you butt out.
What a carrot. Don, do me a favor now, will you?
Why, certainly.
Will you go out and find the Sportsman Quartet, because I want them to come out here and entertain.
Sure.
Will you? You know, Don was only kidding about being in the Navy, although he might have been at that. Can you imagine Don, a sailor? Imagine him in a hammock. The sailor will have a hammock under him, you know. Got a medal for bravery beyond the call of duty. And now, fellas, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the Sportsman Quartet. And pardon me,
Mr. Benny,
Yes.
I'm Chief Petty Officer Jones.
Oh, Chief Jones.
Yes. It's my job to see that you're well taken care of during your visit here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything special you'd like for dinner?
Well, I don't know. Let me see.
Could you hurry it up, please, Mr. Benny? I've got to go out and ask all the sailors what they'd like to eat.
Wait a minute. You mean you asked the sailors what they'd like to have for dinner? What do they usually have?
Well, some of them order crepe Suzettes. Others prefer caviar on Melba toast, followed by filet mignon sautéed with a wine sauce.
With a wine sauce. They have that here, too.
And then there are those who are partial to baked pheasant under glass.
I see. You mean that that's what the enlisted men get? That's the kind of food they get here in the Navy?
No, but as long as we're on television, let's do a little recruiting.
I see what you mean. Well, look at it. I'll have exactly what you brought me for breakfast. Beans.
Very good.
Make that powdered beans. Don't forget. Although, I do want to say something to our viewing audience, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of comedians come here and kid about the food that the sailors get. And I want to tell you that the sailors here, the enlisted men here, get exactly the same food that the admiral gets. The only difference is the admiral's is cooked. And now, fellas, it gives me great pleasure to present the Sportsman Quartet. Come on out, boys. What are you going to do now, boy? What number are you going to do, fellas?
We're going to do The Flight of the Bumblebee, Jack.
Such a classy number, The Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yes,
eh?
but to save trouble, we're not going to use the band this time.
You're not going to use the orchestra for this?
No, we brought our own accompaniment. We brought a trained bee.
Oh, for the
we have-
Flight of the Bumblebee. I see.
And his name is Clyde, and I'd like to have all you fellas and you meet him.
Yeah.
Say hello, Clyde.
Oh, you're going to have that instead of the orchestra, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you'll be much better off than these boys over here. I think. Are you ready, gentlemen? Busby, Malin. Thank you, fellas, for returning the baritone so they could do that number. And now, I'll tell you one thing about these fellas, though. They really are very... I'd like to ask you something. Why did you walk across the stage in front of me right in the middle of the show, I guess?
My commanding officer told me to.
Your commanding officer?
Yes, sir.
Then you're a wave, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, why why did he ask you to wear that dress?
Well, he said as long as we are on television, let's do a little recruiting.
Isn't that wonderful, fellas? She joined the Navy so the world could see her. Hey, Don. I think it's time now that we had our singing commercial. See, it's almost time for the commercial.
Well, that's a good idea, Jack, but there's a little something I think I better tell you before we do that.
What's that?
Well, last night, I went over to Tijuana across the border to a nightclub over there.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, Jack, I saw the greatest guitar player over there, a Mexican guitar player. He's just terrific.
A Mexican guitar player?
That's right. So I took the liberty of hiring him to work with the boys.
You took the liberty of hiring.
That's right. I hope you like him.
Well, I hope so, too, Don, because if I don't, you'll have to take the liberty of paying him. But you say he's going to do a number with the...
Yeah, he'll work with the boys, the quartet. I'll go get all of them right now.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. You know, that's what I like about Don Wilson. He likes to go around and discover talent, you see. He's a sort of a fat Arthur Godfrey. But at least he takes an interest in the show. And that's what I like about him, that he takes, you know, that he... Listen. Come here, pardon me. Are you the Mexican musician that Mr. Wilson told me about?
Sí,
And you play the guitar?
sí,
And you're going to play with the quartet?
sí.
What's your name?
Sai,
Cy?
sí.
All right. Come on out, fellas. You're going to do the commercial. Let's do it. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to play the guitar while they sing the commercial. Fine. Okay, let's hear
You
it.
better sit down here and tune up, Si.
Hey, look it. Wait, how are you going to do it? Look, you broke a string.
Sí,
What string is it?
G,
G?
sí.
Now cut that out. Now, if you want to do the number, do it, and fix the string.
Far below the Mexican border, where the señoritas stroll beneath the moon, I think there's a bold and dashing vaquero, and every night you'll hear him croon. I think in my lonely hacienda, there's a touch of Mexico. I think cactus lovelier than orchids, blooming in the patio. I think soft as the stars and the strum of guitars make every evening seem so sweet. I think in my adobe hacienda, life and love are more complete. Everybody's smoking lucky.
That's right.
It's a smoke that you should try
Cy.
when you're puffing on a lucky. With delight you'll surely sigh.
Cy?
Sing. Yes, it's the best one we agree. It has that better taste we like. In my adobe hacienda, we are smoking Lucky Strike. From La Jolla to Monte Vista, there's a Lucky in everyone's vista, and I think every missus and mister. My uncle, my aunt, and my sister. LSM, 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 Sí, sí, sí. MT. Sí, it's toasting.
That Mexican guitar player is really Mel Blanc. He's been on my show for years, plays all the different characters, a parrot, everything, you know. And now, fellas, I really have a surprise for you. I'm going to play a violin solo. Huh? You glad you came in now? Now, I'm going to have some of the boys help me.
I got a telephone call here from Mr. Jack Benny. You Jack
bag, Benny. Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There. How long you been in the Navy?
Well, I just can't rightly remember. I was in the First War.
The First World War?
No, the First War.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny. This is Rochester.
Rochester, when'd you get down here from Los Angeles?
Just a few minutes ago.
Well, you're late.
I know, but it's hard to maintain a perfect timetable when you're hitchhiking.
Well, Rochester, I'm sorry I made you hitchhike, but there was no more room in the car.
Oh, that's all right. It wasn't so bad. And that was good advice you gave me.
What advice?
If you lie down in the middle of the highway, 9 out of 10 cars will stop.
That's right.
But when that 10th car comes along, it better have a high crankcase.
Where are you now?
I'm in your room at the El Cortez Hotel.
Did you bring my gray suit?
Yes, sir.
Well, come over here with it, will you? I want to wear it tonight.
Okay. Goodbye.
Right. Goodbye. Well, I'm glad Rochester got here because he'll be here pretty soon, and then we'll have our number first.
Well,
as soon
here
as
I am, boss.
Rochester, how did you get here so soon?
I jumped on the back of a sailor with his first weekend liberty.
Where's the gray suit?
Well, on the way over here, I passed behind a barracks where there was a group of sailors kneeling in a circle.
And you lost my gray suit?
If I could have made a 4, you'd have had 200 blue ones.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Now, Rochester, I want you to go to the dressing room and bring my violin.
Your violin?
I'm going to play a number for the boys.
Oh, you're not going to play a thing out here in front of all these sailors.
Well, why shouldn't I?
Why should you? You've already got the Purple Hearts.
Never mind. Now, go there and bring my violin, will you? You'll find it in my dressing room.
Yes, sir. Say, Mr. Benny.
What?
Well, I've got a girlfriend here in San Diego, and I was just wondering if you'd let me use your car tonight.
Oh, sure. You can have it, Rochester.
Gee, thanks. Thanks.
You're
boy.
welcome. You got a girlfriend there, huh?
Yes, sir, and is she beautiful? Most beautiful girl I've ever met in my life.
No kidding. What does she look like, Rochester?
Would you like to have me describe her to you?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched a California sunset just as Mother Nature extinguishes its last golden glow? And it slowly sinks between the tranquil waters of the deep Pacific?
Yeah.
Just put a sweater on it, and that's her.
Rochester, you can have the car. You and your girl have a good time. But I want you back at the hotel at 9 o'clock.
What?
I said I want you back at the hotel at 9 o'clock.
You want me to describe it to you again, boys?
Just go. Now, just go and bring my violin. These are some of the boys that I used for a jam session on my... Now, wait a minute, Roger. I told you you could have the car, you know. You didn't have to flatter me by bringing out my violin on a pillow.
Oh, it wasn't that. I just didn't want to get my fingerprints on it.
Oh. Well, fellas, give me A, will you? I've been waiting the whole half hour for this. That's close enough. I don't care. What are we playing? How about Sweet Georgia Brown? Sweet Georgia Brown. Okay. 1, 2, hit it.
smokers.
Good news for filter tip smokers. Herbert Tarleton is now two ways, regular and filter. Both king size, both with genuine cork tip. Tarleton's famous quality now comes to you with the new selective filter, the only filter of its kind. An entirely new concept in cigarette filtration. A filter tip of purified cellulose, incorporating activated charcoal, a filtering substance world famous as a purifying agent, notably for air, water, and beverages. That's why Herbert Tarleton with the new selective filter and famous Tarleton quality gives you real filtration and smoking satisfaction. Yes, filter tip smokers, here's the true tobacco taste you've been looking for. So look for the red, white, and blue stripes on the package. They identify the best in filtered smoking. Herbert Tarleton, a superior filter at a popular filter price.
Before I introduce the boys, I'm going to bring the girl out and tell you who she is. Lee, come on out here a second, will you? This is Miss Lee Snowden, who appeared on my show 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, and was quite a sensation. So we brought her down here just for you fellas to see her. You meet some of the boys now. Here is Frankie Remley. You've always heard me talk about Frankie Remley and his guitar. And Remley here also has his own band. It's Frankie Remley and his International Orchestra. International meaning that they are just as well known in San Diego as they are in Tijuana. There's Charlie Bagby over here, the accordion player. And although I generally have to warn some of the fellas in the audience, particularly in the first 4 rows, when he plays this thing, because most of the time it's filled with draft beer, this thing. And right over here, I want you to meet, this is our drummer, Sammy Weiss. Now, he's the only normal one in the whole crowd, you know. And I want to apologize for him for the rest of the orchestra. He's a married man, and he has 4 children. Unfortunately, these are the children. Right. Well, anyway, thanks very, very much, fellas, for coming on. And I do want to say that, incidentally, I'll be back in 2 weeks, back on television, and next Sunday I want you...